Well, hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Live at the Waterhole, everyone. My name is Amy, and I will be with you for the show today and most of the week ahead, which I'm very, very excited about. It is so great to be back here at the Waterhole, and we're starting off in beautiful East Africa up at Old Donyo Lodge with some giraffes that are ruminating, resting, doing their thing, maybe had a drink a little bit earlier, and now just enjoying some sunshine, some beautiful clouds building in the background too. Remember, everyone, that this is, of course, a live and interactive show. I would very much love to hear from everyone watching. Please do say hello to me. You can send any comments and questions through via the Wild Earth website or the app. You can also chat to me in the YouTube chat stream. Just remember to use @FC if you'd like those comments and questions to come directly to me. You can also join the conversation on X using the hashtag WildEarth. Otherwise, you can use our new WhatsApp line where you can send through comments and questions via that mobile application. All you need to do is just add the number as a contact and then you can chat to us. And you can see this is a male giraffe. There's a few things that tell us that. First of all, what stand out to me is how thick those horns are on top of his head, also known as ossicones. They almost look too big for him. Lorraine, thank you so much. It's wonderful to be back here with you. And it was nice to have a little bit of a break, but I'm excited to have returned, and next week I'll be back on drive, so I'm looking forward to that as well. Penelope, hello, lovely to hear that it's sunny where you are in KwaZulu-Natal. Sandy Franklin, good morning to you. And Mpoya, yes, let's see what the waterholes have today. It's always an exciting time when we wait to see what may present itself. You never know what might pop out. Perhaps a little bit later on in the show we'll have some elephants that come down to the waterhole here. We have some beautiful tuskers and big elephant bulls that often come to drink here at Old Donyo, and sometimes they do show themselves throughout the waterhole show. Oh, this one, just giraffe, is currently feeding quite a few around. Look, 3 in the back, 3 or 4 in the background there at least. One in the foreground here feeding away. It always amazes me how they can feed on such thorny trees. You can see that's a type of Vichelia. It used to be acacia species with those white thorns on. There's a few things that will help the giraffe to be able to do that. One is that they have a very long tongue, which helps them wrap around the branches or the twigs and be able to sort of pull off the leaves that they're after. And then they also have quite a very thick gelatinous type of saliva, quite viscous. It's not sort of thin like we imagine our own saliva to be, and that helps coat any sort of thorns that may be in the mouth to help protect the tongue. But for the most part, they don't actually, I think, get a lot of thorns in. They're able to maneuver their lips and their tongue to be very specific about what they're feeding on. Catherine, hi. Thank you so much. It's great to be here, and it's good to be back with the Wild Earth family for sure. Joanne, yes, indeed. Happy Monday, start of a new week, and for many, it may be a public holiday today. In South Africa, we call it Family Day after Easter weekend. So I know many would have had hopefully a lovely long weekend. You can see how the giraffe's mouth is moving round and round like that. And basically what that means, even the one that's standing closer to us is also chewing, ruminating. And giraffes being the largest ruminant that we find here in Africa. And basically what that means is that the way their stomach is structured, it means that they have to re-chew. Oh, we're going to see a regurgitation now of the cud come up the neck. There we go. Giraffes are some of the best species to see that happen because of how long their neck is. And basically the function of rumination is to break down the cellulose in the plant in order to be able to gain the nutrition. And that's what the stomach of a ruminant lacks, is the sort of enzymes to be able to break down that cellulose. So they need to re-chew it in order to get it fine enough for the digestive system to extract the nutrition that the animal needs. Whereas something like
It's been a great morning out and about and exploring.
It's amazing. It's very hard to explain what this feels like.
My full name is Mpho Muthusi Tikani. Best part of my job is coming to see nature. Worst part of my job is logging. That's the worst thing ever, because you have to log amount of footage. You sit in front of that computer and yeah, you think of deleting the footage, but no, they need the footage. If I went to Camel, probably a soccer player. I know some people don't believe me, but I'm very good, I'm very fast.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
Penelope, yes, it is still lovely and green here at Oldonyo. They are still getting rain at the moment as well. You can see, I think it was one of the last shows I did, it was raining here a few weeks ago. And we can see the clouds building in the background. This particular giraffe has very interesting markings as well down its neck and sort of on its back. I always love to try and see what sort of images I can find in a giraffe's spots, especially when they are somewhat different. This one it's got some feathery patterns, which we do associate quite a bit with the Maasai giraffe species, which we find here in East Africa. But also there are a few blotchy ones and different shapes too. I often tend to find maple leaves when it comes to giraffes' patterns. There's definitely a few sort of on the side and belly that look like birds flying in the sky. I can spot a heart on the neck. Wow, isn't that so beautiful? Yes, Lorraine, I agree with you. These patterns are lovely, and like I say, sometimes when you just take a little bit of time to actually look at the patterns, it's interesting sometimes what your mind will see, just like cloud shapes as well. But a lovely start to the Waterhole show. Let's head over now to some buffalo at Shalati Sunrise. Well, from one ruminant to another, a buffalo isn't quite as large as a giraffe, but it also sits and re-chews its food, as you can see that happening right now with this buffalo bull lying in the Sabi River. Wildlife lady, thank you so much. I did have a wonderful break. It was lovely to see family and also just have a rest as well. See to some personal admin as well that gets a little bit behind when you're living out in the bush. But it was a wonderful little breakaway, and I'm very happy to be home now. I actually haven't been home in over a month because I was at Mabula and then Welgevonden for 3 weeks, and then I had my break, and now I'm finally home. So I was very happy to get back to the Lowveld. And as we drove in to the reserve we stay at yesterday, there were some giraffes actually to greet me, which was beautiful. I like to think they came to welcome me back. That's what I tell myself. Tennis, I wish that I could say that I added some more birds to my bird list, but we didn't go on any specific birding trips or anything like that. We were in the Free State and then Mpumalanga. So unfortunately not, but hopefully after my next break in May, we're going to be in the south of Kruger, and hopefully that will lead to maybe 1 or 2 new species that I haven't quite gotten to see just yet. Who knows? But tennis, I did get to add the Cape grassbird to my list while I was at Welgevonden, which was very exciting, as well as having my second only sighting ever of a Levalens testicula. So I was very happy with the birding that we did that side in the Waterberg, which was lovely to do as well. This is just such typical behavior of buffalo bulls. So this doesn't necessarily mean that this is a very old bull. In fact, he doesn't look particularly, you get some old buffaloes that you just, the wear and tear, they've seen a lot in their life, a lot of fighting. They've got a lot of scars. They're very white around the face already from all the ear flicking to chase the flies away from their eyes. And although there are some marks, I think more likely than not, this bull has actually separated himself from the herd, and there might be others in the area, maybe a small bachelor herd of them, that decide to actually move away from the main herd and find better grazing to strengthen themselves up, and then they'll go back when they're feeling strong enough to actually challenge some of the dominant bulls within the herd for mating rights. So that's why sometimes, not often, there's a misconception that buffalo bulls we see on their own are the ones that have they're old, they're sick, they can't keep up with the herd anymore. But that's not necessarily always true. And sometimes they move away just to gather their strength, because you can imagine if you're in a herd of hundreds of buffalo and you're not necessarily in the best condition, the grazing that you're going to get is not very good, because you've had hundreds of buffalo in front of you before you've been able to get any grass. So that is why sometimes these bulls move away. We see them on their own, and they take some time before they head back once their condition has improved. Sandy, you wanted to know what would happen if you were walking and came upon a giraffe. Well, it would be a very different situation than if I came upon a buffalo, Sandy. And that's due to the temperament of the animals. And that's not to say that giraffe can't be potentially dangerous. There have been instances and tragic situations where giraffes have hurt and even killed humans. But it is highly unusual. Buffalo also not something that happens every day, but they have a far more, let's say, aggressive dispensation than giraffe do. So it's one thing, if you come across a giraffe while walking, not much is going to happen, to be honest. If it is in a very remote area where those animals aren't used to seeing people on foot, they'll probably move away from you before you even see them. Otherwise, if you do surprise them around a corner, even if it is at a rather close distance, most likely they're just going to bolt away from you. But it is always important to, when walking, when on trail, tracking or anything like that, to be aware of your surroundings, and we call that situational awareness or 360-degree awareness, trying to be aware of everything at all times. And the sensitivity, it's why when we do training, you head out and you walk in the bush on your own, because that's the only way to really get your senses in tuned with the bush, with sounds. What could that sound mean? You understand the sounds of animals and what that could be. And when you're in tune to things like that, you anticipate certain animals being around, or your awareness to know when they're there is much higher. And so you sort of hear some branches, or you hear leaves or footsteps, hoof steps, should I say. And then you take a step back, use your binoculars, listen, look. You're like, oh, there's a giraffe. And most likely by that point, you may be able to view it without it knowing you there. But giraffe they have such a great advantage with their height. So most likely they've already spotted you, and they'll slowly move off. Buffalo, however, are a different story. And you can imagine if you're walking through the reeds here, you could literally walk out a meter from this buffalo if you are not careful or not aware, or even if you are all those things, because it is just so thick. You can come upon a buffalo very close by, which is why generally we don't walk in areas like this, because of those things. But right now, this particular buffalo is looking very relaxed, enjoying the coolness of the water, I'm sure. It's warm today, I think around 30 degrees or so, but definitely not the scorching days of summer. Those are long past by now.
our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed colour.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
TA, you are asking what kind of habits or habitats does the buffalo prefer? I think you mean habitats, so I'm going to go with that, TA. Buffalo are grazers, so in an ideal world, they will like to be in places with good grasses, generally mixed bushveld woodland with grass in between, but they really can be, in terms of the savanna biome, in a variety of areas, from a palmy woodland, like I said, to mixed bushveld, to acacia thickets, and right here in the middle of the Sabi River as well. So water is very, very important for buffalo. It aids their digestive system. They have to drink every single day, if not twice a day or more, in order to survive. And drought they are very seriously affected by drought, sensitive, and they lose condition easily because of that. When there is poor food quality, as well as then a lack of water, so those two things together mean that buffalo as well as hippos are often the first animals to be affected by drought. That being said, those are sort of the anchors of the habitats that they will need to live in. So in areas like the Kalahari, for example, you just won't find buffalo in very dry, arid areas because there's not enough grass for them all year round, we're speaking about now, unless food is supplemented or something like that. But naturally speaking, they prefer areas where there is plenty of grass. In particularly dry years, they can also eat dried up leaves, things like mapani leaf as well, because of the amount of protein that it holds. So those are sort of the areas. The Kruger is a great example of the type of area that buffalo enjoy and inhabit. but they must have access to a good supply of water. And the Greater Kruger is fantastic for that because of the multiple perennial rivers that flow through the entire reserve. This particular one that we're looking at is called the Sabi River, and it's in the southern region of the Kruger National Park. Hangwani, you asking if the buffalo is okay? The buffalo is 100% fine. I know it does look maybe a little bit sad and alone, enjoying some quiet time here at the river. It also hasn't moved much, but it really is very much part of what we can expect, especially buffalo bulls that are on their own to do. He literally might be here for the entire day until maybe later on this evening or afternoon when he decides he needs to go get some more food. Because other than that, he's pretty much in the perfect spot in terms of water. It's nice and cool there. There would be no reason for him to move. Alright, well, from one animal cooling down, let's head over to Tembe for some others who are doing the same. And here we have some elephants, or one in particular that is splashing around in the mud. Well, I do think these elephants are going to be around for a little while longer. Apparently, a tiny baby has just popped up at its house, so let's head over there. So I'm so happy to see elephants again. This is wonderful, and between Tembe and Tau, we're always spoilt for quite a few Ellies that come to say hello. And here is this tiny little one. Oh, that is so precious. It almost looks like they've been splattered with white paint, but I can assure you that that's nothing that is, they've all been in it. It's not anything that's wrong with the elephants, but just simply some lighter colored mud or soil that's been splashed on them. Oh, look at that little one. They are so cute when they oh, look at that. It has to put its whole mouth in the water because I don't think it can use its trunk to drink just yet. They sort of have to face plant in. Oh no, this is just so cute, everyone. Oh, look at it. How perfectly camouflaged is it in that mud though? Goodness me. Oh, that must feel so wonderful. Mom, don't leave me. I'm coming. One of the older, still a youngster, but not quite as small as that baby, also decided to sit down there. And it's amazing how quickly sometimes these eddies can be at a waterhole. They just come and do their thing, using their legs there now to splash around and then quickly move off. It's also lovely to see that Tau is still so green as well. Lots of grass around. You can see the trees in the distance are also quite green. There's a herd of impalas that we can just see here, sort of in the distance. Some yellow flowers are still around as well, so that's great. I mean, it's something that at some point within, I think, the next month, we'll see the things start to change a bit. Oh my goodness, this little one is a little bit cheeky. It's also rutting season for the impalas, so I'm not surprised that they're busy running around like that, especially the males. It basically means that it's mating season, so they start making these very loud rutting noises, all hoping to prove themselves in order to mate with the females. Cannot believe it's that time of year again. Oh, there's a croc on the move. Wow, it's all happening here at Tau at the moment. It's almost like it's electronic, the way it moves through the water so smoothly.
For years, we've shared virtual wildlife. Now, let's experience it for real. I'm Lauren Arthur, and I'd love to show you my amazing home here in the Greater Kruger of South Africa. This 5-night journey is an exclusive connection to my piece of untamed Africa. I live here in these gorgeous landscapes surrounded by epic wildlife. The wild is calling, so come and join me.
Become a Wild Earth YouTube member today and unlock extras and bonuses, like ad-free streams so you can stay immersed in your safari without any interruption. Have your burning questions answered first by me or other expert naturalists. Join now to avoid missing out on these amazing benefits. help us connect people to nature.
My name is Takudzwa Panda Msesani. My scariest moment is when it happened twice. The other time I was with Cedric and the other time I was with Steve. And all those times, it was a black mamba. My favorite meal in camp is gonna be burger and chips.
This week, we celebrate our planet and the power of nature. It's all about the drive to power our planet by harnessing nature's energy. Join us live as we explore the exciting world of wild power. Earth Week, only on Wild Earth.
We are thrilled to announce our new exclusive feature for YouTube members and explorers. Join us live every Tuesday for our sunrise and sunset safaris. Experience Tawny Tuesday like never before with up-close encounters and breathtaking moments. Don't miss out. Become a YouTube member or explorer today and immerse yourself in the heart of the bush. See you Tuesday.
Oh, there's a Namakwa dove that just landed there on the left with the little black face. Very sort of distinctive dove, the male anyway, that has that look. And the longer tail, which sticks out quite clearly. Deb Davis, hello, lovely to hear from you. And indeed, danger in the water. That croc is seriously lurking. I'm not sure what it's on the lookout for, but possibly anything that it can try and grab along the way, or it's just moving to its desired sunny spot. Who knows? There are also some waterbuck around that I saw. The pair of South African shell ducks are there on the left, so still quite busy here around the Tau waterhole. Well, now that the elephants here have headed off, let's head back over to the ones at Tembe. I think I can hear a gorgeous bush shrike calling in the background. This would be the place to hear them, and I have heard them here before. It's probably my favorite call in the whole bush. Yeah, there it is. There we go, you can hear it. very shy bushwracks generally, named appropriately, wanting to stick to thicker bush. Some are higher up in the canopy. Gorgeous bushwracks are generally lower down. I've even seen them nesting before quite close to the ground with some youngsters, which was a very special sighting. This Ellie has been loving this mud wallow. I think he's claimed it as his own jacuzzi. Oh wow. Are you enjoying that, boy? It must be so comfy. He has really gotten himself muddy from the tip of his trunk to the end of his tail. Doing an excellent job there. Now he's not quite happy with the consistency, wants to churn up a little bit more mud. Yes, Mindy, hello. I think so as well. I think it must feel wonderful, even if they do look a little bit silly when sitting down like that. Thea, yes, it's definitely possible for a crocodile to kill a baby elephant or attack it. But it is also very true that elephants make very good mothers. They're very protective. In fact, not just the mother, but the whole herd protect their little ones. And so if there were to be a sneaky croc that manages to get close enough to try and grab one, there would be a huge fuss made by the older elephants to try, if the crocodile grabbed the little one, the adults would make a huge scene and try and save the little one for sure. I actually haven't seen that happen myself, but just based off of behavior of elephants and the way they are so protective of their little ones, I don't see a way in which they would just stand by and let that happen. But also they can be completely helpless. I mean, if there is a really sneaky croc that manages to just be in the right place in the right time, and the older elephants don't see it in time, and a little too small of an elephant gets too close and it takes it and swims away with it, there's not much that the elephants would be able to do. I'm sure they might even go after it and try and chase off the crocodile, which is also possible. But it is, I think it has been seen before, that crocodiles are able to attack little elephants. But it is also true that the herd will try and save it and protect it, and I don't think the success rate of elephant attacks by crocs is too high.
We have just had our efforts paid off.
Become a Wild Earth YouTube member and unlock exclusive bonuses and benefits. Enjoy uninterrupted, ad-free streams so you can stay immersed in nature. Have your burning questions answered first by me or other expert naturalists. Enjoy exclusive access to special broadcasts and videos, and help us to connect people to nature.
Step away from your daily stress and escape into nature with Wild Earth. Immerse yourself in the wilderness and become part of the natural landscape. Watch as everything comes alive. Join us as we slow down our thoughts, put aside our distractions, and reconnect with the wild.
And the amount that might be deadly for a leopard might be way more that's needed than what's deadly for a human. For example, their skin could be thicker, they could have tougher hides, which they definitely do, than us as humans. And even elephants, for example, you know, we often ask that question too, but the body size of an elephant in comparison to a human or another animal out in the bush is just so much larger, so the amount of venom needed to actually kill an elephant would have to be huge, depending on the snake and its toxicity, of course. So I hope that answers your question, Diane. Leopards can definitely be affected by venom, but there are a few different factors that mean that they aren't as susceptible to serious injury by venom or negative effects by venom than, for example, humans are. Could actually hear the impalas ratting there in the background. A sort of deep grunting. I remember the first time I heard an impala rat, I could not believe that that was an impala making that noise, but it is true. And it looks like most of these elephants have finished off their mud baths and are now heading off to feed. And while they do that, let's head over to some vultures at Victoria Falls. Looks like a few hooded vultures are still hanging around here, feeding off some bits and pieces of bone that are still around. And the hooded vulture is the smallest vulture that we get in this area, and much smaller than the likes of even the whitebacks or much larger vultures like the lappet-faced. Really tiny little heads and very fine long beaks, still strong and able to do what they need to do, but they can really get into the little nooks and crannies of carcasses, whether it's in between small rib bones or maybe sort of the marrow that's inside the bones and things like that. That larger vultures with much larger beaks, just they need sort of chunks of meat really, whereas the small bones for them aren't really worth much because they don't have that sort of precision like these hooded vultures do with their little beaks. And that is all part of nature's cleanup crew, as we like to say, each one filling a niche. Oh, and there we can see some whitebacks are also around, and nice to actually show you that size difference now. You can see just in terms of what I was talking about earlier, what that difference is in terms of even beak size or just body size of the two species. Oh, cool. Okay, we are going to head over to the other camera here at Vic Falls for a bird that's hunting. Oh, lovely. This looks like a great egret. You can see that yellow beak with the black legs and feet. Did just catch something there, it looked like. Very, very cool. Speaking of birds eating, Canine Girl, you would like to know how much do vultures need to consume to survive. So when it comes to vultures, and I think specifically birds of prey or those that scavenge, it's highly variable. So they can go for quite a long time without eating if there is no carcass or carrion available to them. I believe it can be up to like 2 weeks or so even that vultures don't have to eat for. But then when they do come across something, they'll sort of gorge themselves. And they've also got that very handy tool at their disposal called a crop, where they can store the extra food for later that they can't sort of fit through their bellies at that moment. But generally, I checked now actually to be very specific, about sort of around between 150 to 200 grams of meat a day on average for a vulture. I think it also varies depending on the size of vultures. So the smaller the vulture, the less meat it needs. The larger the vulture, the more meat it needs. But like I say, it can be highly variable depending on what food is available to them. That egret's playing hide and seek with us now, but I'm sure it might come out again, moving a lot back and forth, looking for probably fish in the water, maybe a few amphibians as well. Spuss, thank you for your question. You are asking if things like vultures or marabou storks and basically this cleanup crew that I was referring to did not exist in the ecosystem, what would be its effect? Well, the effect would be severe. We would have large amounts of rotting carrion, which basically just means dead organic matter, really, usually referring to carcasses of other animals that have died, just lying around all over the place, relying on whether it's microscopic bacteria or other beetles or bugs or things like that that help with the decomposition process. But it would just take very, very long, and that can often lead to what would then likely to happen is outbreaks of diseases, much higher levels of infection or disease carrying bacteria that are growing and can infect the ecosystem, just completely out of balance. Higher levels of other things that might be, we don't even know really what it could happen, but all I know is that it would be out of balance. Elements like lots of nitrogen that's being released, perhaps too much compared to what the system needs, overload of certain nutrients, or even certain harmful toxins that might come from too much decomposing material. And that's what things like marabou storks and vultures help to keep in balance. And it is such a delicate balance, and that's why every single component that's out here is here, because it's meant to be here. You remove anything from the tiniest to the biggest and there will be an effect. Deb, if this waterhole were to dry up, or any waterhole that has crocs in it, the crocs would simply just move to the next available water source. If that is not an option for them, they will sort of dig into the mud that's available to them to try and keep, in some sort of a moist habitat for as long as possible. But most likely, as we see many, many times, if a waterhole does dry up, they'll just move on to the next available water source. My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
Join the Wild Earth YouTube superfan community and unlock a world of additional perks. Get exclusive early access or discounts to Wild Earth travel deals. Wear the best bush attire with merchandising discounts. Enjoy an interactive live monthly private safari. Don't miss out on the ultimate fan experience. Join the YouTube superfan community today.
My name is Takudzwa Panda Msesani. I really want to film an artwork, and it has been my goal. I'll be just keeping my eyes open. The worst driver is Jen. He's driving, yeah. You gotta be holding on back in there, yeah? Like in bumps, and I mean, it happens when, these things happens when you're actually going for animals usually. But then, yeah, he's driving, yeah, you gotta put your seatbelt.
Every month, something wild lands in your inbox. From rare sightings and behind-the-scenes secrets to expert stories, seasonal changes, and exclusive travel opportunities, the Wild Earth Journal is your free monthly mailer, packed with the magic of the wild straight from the field. It's fun, it's free, it's full of surprises. Sign up now on the Wild Earth website.
And often when we see them relax with their trunks like this, quite often it's sometimes the whole trunk sort of sits down, or the tip of it sort of sits down on the ground, and you can see those muscles completely relax. Or with those elephants that have the luxury of longer tusks, they do often like to rest it sort of draped over one of them. You can also notice just how tattered this elephant's ears are, quite a few notches out, as well as some smaller tears that are quite consistent actually throughout both the left and right, and that also is a sign of age. Many years experience in life, and that, you know, from years of walking through bushes and thorns maybe catching or broken off twigs and things like that, tattering the ears at the end. And such beautiful bird calls. We can hear somber green bull, southern boo-boo. I think there's an orange-breasted bushrack in the background. do see some movement in the background. It looks like there is at least one other elephant that's sort of in the distance there. And I found the ellies enjoy that spot sort of across from where this elephant is on the other side of the waterhole. It's sort of a shady patch where they love to stand and throw cool sand on themselves. There's an orange-breasted bushrat calling that sounds like it's maybe got some high energy caffeine or something in it. It's making a very quick call. Cheryl, hi, thank you for your question. You want to know if elephant ears bleed when they get torn. You have never seen blood on their ears. It's a fantastic question, Cheryl, because you are right. It's not something that we commonly see, but yes, they certainly do bleed. In fact, the ears are rich in blood vessels. It's part of their cooling system, and although we don't often see current injuries on the ear, I have seen an elephant with a bloody sort of tear or scratch hole in the ear before, but you're right, it's not something that we see too often, and it seems like whenever those sort of tears and cuts occur, it's almost like they're never within view of many people to see. It's definitely not something, we don't see many elephants with bloody ears around in the bush. So it just shows actually how rarely it happens in terms of frequency. Let me say that, how frequently it happens. But that also goes to show why then older elephants tend to have more tattered ears. Because of the low frequency of tears that occur, it happens throughout 30, 40 years of life. You get this sort of tattered look that's many years that all sort of contribute together to eventually get the sort of look that this bull has. But of course, the more sort of on the edges of the ear those little cuts and tears are, the less blood that would sort of show. But the deeper it sort of goes into the central cartilage of that ear, the more the ear will bleed. Dark Mane Lover, hello. Thank you for this fantastic question, and it's lovely to chat about things like this. You are asking why elephants' testes are inside their bodies and not outside. Could it be that they would weigh a lot more for them to carry outside the body? So this is fascinating stuff, and for those of you who may not be aware, one thing that is often perhaps quite clearly lacking in male elephants is a scrotum, or what holds the testicles, and that's because they are actually internal, so we don't get to see them like we do on a buffalo, for example. And with most placental animals that come from a womb that are born with an umbilical cord, we see that happening where the testicles are actually dropped into the lower abdomen and held in what we call a scrotum, and that's apparently due to keeping them cooler for optimal sperm production in the reproduction of mammals, rather than the core body temperature. But of course that is clearly lacking with the group of mammals that elephants belong to, which also include things like manatees, for example. And it's clear why that, in terms of the scientific reasoning, is that the elephant no longer has the gene within their DNA to instruct the testes to drop outside of the body. There's no actual exact reason. We can only theorize or hypothetically think of what the possible reasons are. With regards to what you said, Dark Mane Lover, regarding their weight, so whether they're inside or outside the body, the testes would still weigh the same. But being inside or internal does mean that there's less chance of injury to them. Being the largest land mammal, their testes are of significant size, and you can imagine that if they were sort of hanging more in the open, how much more vulnerable they would be to a rather sensitive piece of the body that is vital for reproduction. So that could very well be one of the reasons why that may be. But at the end of the day, it's basically whatever those advantages are to being internal for the elephant specifically, they outweigh the disadvantages of being internal. So clearly the sort of body temperature aspect has not been an issue for elephants when it comes to reproduction in that sort of way. So thank you, Dark Mane Lover, for that very interesting question.
Experience the magic of the wild on an unforgettable 4-night safari at Mabula Nature Reserve, hosted by the one and only Stephen Falconbridge. With Steve as your private guide, you'll gain incredible insights into Africa's wildlife, leaving with knowledge and memories to last a lifetime. Get hands-on with conservation, track elusive cheetahs, and even take to the skies on a hot air balloon ride. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive. At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
Well, we are having quite a day for large grey animals. I believe there is a hippo at Awango. So this is very interesting. I actually haven't spent too much time with the sort of resident hippo of this waterhole, who's known as Moto Moto. So I don't know if this is him or not. The scar would be very distinctive if it is him. I've only really seen him from the one side, but if he does have this particular scar, then that's a very easy way to identify that hippo. But it looks quite nasty, I'm not going to lie to you. It's all healed, it's not, doesn't look like it's oozing still or raw or anything like that, but it looks like, I'm not sure if it was attacked, if it was another hippo that caused that injury, or perhaps something else tried to bite it. Who knows, anything from lion to crocodile, but most likely to be from another hippo, perhaps tried to bite a chunk out of there, or those terribly sharp tusks that they have. A lot of bite force behind that could also cause quite a nasty injury if they manage to sort of sink into the flesh and take a chunk out. But that seems to be in the past for this hippo, and it's now looking very lazy and comfy actually in the sun. Wildlife Lady, I don't think that the fight which potentially caused this injury was recent, and like I was saying, I think that because of how well it's healed, although the disfigured flesh is still there, it doesn't look raw. The pink that you see there is sort of the skin that's underneath the sort of melanin layer on top of the skin. Dark mane lover, I know it's a very statuesque hippo at the moment, and it doesn't seem to even be twitching an ear at this point. Fast asleep here in a very comfy spot. I do seem to think the nostrils are opening and closing there. can see some other scarring on the back as well, almost looks like streaks, which would have also, those sort of look very much like the standard scarring that hippos get when fighting, especially younger males, even older males that got when they were younger. And we actually saw once driving through the Kruger a young male hippo that had almost been, seemed to have been exiled to this tiny temporary pan of water, because you could see it was freshly bleeding on its back and all of that sort of thing, and that would have been caused by another territorial hippo that wasn't very happy with the presence of another male hippo, and would have got quite the hiding from him. Ooh, what bird was that? I thought it looked like a bird of prey there for a second. Maybe it was just a goose that looked darker than normal. Yeah, I know. It does seem like that hippo is having a serious staring contest with, I don't actually know what, but it is rather impressive. While this hippo sneezes away, let's head back over to Tau.
My heart is pounding at the moment.
We are here in one of the best places in the world to see tigers.
South Africa's wild places are closer than you think, because Federal Airlines brings them to you, from the calm of our FedAir lounge to the smooth boarding of our trusted fleet. We take care of the journey so you can enjoy the adventure. Our flights go beyond the ordinary, connecting you to South Africa's most remote and extraordinary locations. Federal Airlines, your gateway to the South African wild.
My full name is Maxine Gaines. Most people that know me really well call me Max. I'm a mum. I have two boys. One is 16 years old and one is 14 years old. I'm a very, very proud mama of my two boys. I've just always been passionate about leopards. I'm passionate about their conservation. I'm just passionate about everything to do with leopards. I love them.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight. We'll be
And you pretend like you're a serviceman, eh?
Got no idea what's going on this reserve.
Expecting the unexpected.
Are we stuck down there?
What am I trying to do?
Because we have another giant of Mabula.
That was incredible.
This is unbelievable.
It's going to be a spectacular afternoon.
Join the Wild Earth Explorers program and connect with a community passionate about wildlife. Support our mission to share authentic wildlife experiences with the world. Your monthly contribution helps provide schools and children access to kids' safaris, fostering a love for nature in the next generation. Embrace the wonders of the bush and make a difference today. Wild Earth, connecting with nature.
And it's amazing that it's instinctual for birds to look after themselves like this. It's just what they do. And they have to make sure that they are in prime flight condition. Kev, hi. You are asking about whether a missing or broken limb would affect an elephant. Sometimes you see antelopes or primates coping with a missing or even a broken limb. And obviously the force needed to cause such an injury would have to probably be huge in terms of affecting an elephant like that. Kev, I think to answer that, firstly, in terms of a missing limb or one that is so badly injured or perhaps infected that it doesn't, survive or the elephant ends up losing that, there is a very good reason why we don't see three-legged elephants around surviving, or actually three-legged animals in general, due to the fact that it's survival of the fittest out here, and something with such a severe disadvantage in comparison to the others that have all their limbs just won't survive. But I think also forgetting the predation side of things and just focusing on the size of the elephant and the fact that in terms of the weight distribution and being able to move and just keep itself alive, let alone being preyed upon by something else, would be extremely difficult and I would say close to impossible, hence us not seeing elephants with 3 legs surviving. We see ones with short trunks surviving. I've even seen ones with injured legs. Sometimes I think whether it's genetically or an injury that was caused, but you sort of have an elephant with a shorter leg and they seem to be able to survive somewhat out in the wilderness. I'm not sure in terms of actually reaching adulthood, but I have seen younger ones that battle to keep up with the group, but they are still alive. And I think that's pretty much a genetic fault in the elephant when something's wrong with the hip joint or something happened that leg just is a bit shorter than all the others. But I don't think I've ever seen a fully grown sort of mature elephant with that sort of disability, if you would, featuring. Ooh, what is that? Is that a bishop? I think that's a yellow-crowned bishop. Beautiful. It is indeed a yellow-crowned bishop. So cool to see. I actually haven't seen one before in real life to tick off my list, but so this is the first time seeing one for me. It's one of the relatively, depending on where you live, bishops to see. If you're based in the Lowveld, it's not very common to see it. Well, that definitely looked like a yellow-crowned bishop, everyone. Which was very cool to see. It's not something that we often get to see, and had the males become so beautiful during breeding season like that. You can see a few of them flying around now. And not quite a lot more common within the central parts of South Africa into a bit of the north. Not something that we see too often in the Lowveld at all. They become quite puffed up, almost similar to that of a puffback when they're displaying, which is also very cool to see. All right, well, now that they've flown off, let's head over to KwaMaritan. Oh, well, this is lovely to see some zebra. One of my favorites to see out on safari, that's for sure. And we've also got them together with a few impalas. Looks like a very relaxed afternoon here in the Pilanesberg. Beautiful to just watch the zebra and impala moving through the veld. We are going to head back up to East Africa with a giraffe. I'm not sure if that is the exact same giraffe as earlier, but it is beautiful nonetheless. This is a female. You can just see there's a lot more hair on top of those horns, also a lot thinner in thickness. And there are quite a few butterflies around as well. Difficult to say exactly, but it looked like a few orange or red tipped butterflies, and then maybe some of the joker species, that sort of orangey black, that flutter past the screen every now and again. Yes, Mindy, it's lovely to finish off the show today with the giraffes here at El Doño. I can't believe how long some of this grass has gotten with the recent rains. Perhaps we'll be lucky to finish off with the giraffe that's coming for a drink. the ever cautious one, having a last scan maybe before it comes to quench its thirst. Oh wow, there's a second one now popping out from behind the trees. Well, everyone, we have come to the end of the Waterhole show. Thank you so much to all of you who joined me this afternoon. It's been such a lovely show with a lot of different variety, and what a treat to end off with these giraffes here. Indeed, it is lovely to end off with them for sure. And remember that we will, of course, be back tomorrow, and I'll be back here with you for another Waterhole show. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. Tomorrow and then this afternoon, I believe there's a live sunset safari open to all for Earth Week, which we are celebrating this week. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Goodbye for now.